Did you know that there's a type of cockroach that gives you milk?
Disgusting.
Dirty to the max.
Actually, let's do those. Where to get Dunja zucchini? So once we've got it filled up to the top, it's all loosely placed in there, all the soil, it's not compacted in there like it should be. And what you need is a solid place for the plant, for the seeds to germinate from. And if there's little air pockets and things like that in there, the roots won't have enough soil to germinate properly and root properly.
So that's why we're pushing it down?
So we're going to put that straight on top because those divots line up perfectly with the holes in this one.
Like that?
And then you want to firmly push down on the middle, on the front, back, all the sides. Okay? Not
And
yet.
also to get...
Not hard. Don't put all your weight on there.
Sorry.
Just hard enough to kind of. Now, if you back up a little bit, we'll show the camera. We've got little divots created for all of the little seeds to go in, and for things like lettuce and a lot of the early spring vegetables and things like that. That's a perfect depth to put our seeds in. Things like corn and other things that need to be planted deeper, we'll have to manually plant. So you can either moisten the soil ahead of time. A lot of people do that, or if you don't do it that way, you really have to soak them after you get the seeds in there and the soil on top. So I don't know if you can see that or not. There's nice little divots for all the little seedlings to go in. Now, if you do have a plant that needs to be sown deeper, in these little trays it would be hard because the roots would take over the soil too quickly. So you probably want to either direct sow those or sow them into bigger pots, which they have. We're going to do most of this stuff, keep going guys, with shallower rooted vegetables like lettuces and Swiss chard and stuff like that. So what we have going on here in our first tray is a lot of our leafy greens. So we're going to do this half in sativa lettuce, and we're going to do this third here in what do we got? Swiss chard.
Swiss chard.
And then this third here in what do we got going in here?
Kale.
Some kale. So the system that we're going to use this year, we'll see how it goes, is we're going to put one of these little plastic things in there, but we're going to have an arrow pointing the direction that it goes. So this is going to be our middle spot. So we're going to have an arrow pointing this way, letting us know that anything from here over on this side is Swiss chard. We'll do the same over here with an arrow pointing this way, and then we'll have one over here that has lettuce, or I'm sorry, here that points that way to let us know all of this is lettuce.
Let us know.
To let us know. Get it?
Yes.
I do.
So what we're doing is planting 2 per cell. That way, if one of the seeds doesn't germinate, then we have a better chance of the other one germinating. Our goal is to get 100% germination. We'll see how realistic that is.
Tell them how old the lettuce is.
We bought it last year, so we tried to keep it dry, but who knows? But our goal is to plant several plantings of this throughout the growing season. Alright, so I am going to cover all the seeds. I just want to fill them back up to the top with more soil.
We want to
Get it on first, and then you guys can spread it out gently, super gently this time, okay? So now what we're going to do is water them in, and like I was saying before, since we didn't pre-moisten the soil before we put it in here, I'm going to give it a pretty good soaking. What you want to use is, kind of show you here, you don't want to do this super hard spray because you don't want to disturb the seeds. Kind of like the rainwater setting that you have on your garden hose, even a little less than that. So just really soak it in. I've ordered some vermiculite to put on top, and that helps to maintain moisture within the little planting cells here. But it hasn't, I ordered that through the mail and it hasn't come yet, so we'll just really have to focus on getting these watered and keeping them moist. So really getting in there, since we can't get to the bottom now, to get them really moist and then let gravity do the work. Alright, we got one tray done. So a lot of these seeds that we got in these manila little envelope things are actually, they're from Aaron's sister, and I think they came from the Purdue Extension here, but their local library was giving them out, so that's pretty neat.
How neat is that?
We got a ton of those that we'll be trying out this year. But what we're going to do, this tray is going to be peppers, and Anastasia and I are going to be doing several different varieties of pepper, some green and red peppers. She's got some, let me see this package, baby. She's got some poinsettia peppers, which we tried growing last year that didn't do very well. But we're going to start them a little earlier this year. They're a hot variety for making salsas, I think. And then we've got some more sweet peppers, and multicolored. We'll try those out, and then some jalapenos. Yep, so one per each cell. We're going to do 2 full rows of that one, okay?
I wanted to talk about the last step of growing your seeds indoors, and that's a term called hardening off. So once you get your seedlings sprouted, you don't just want to directly plant them in the ground. Once the weather gets warm, there's a process called hardening off, and what that means is gradually exposing the seedlings to the outdoors. Not only just the outdoors, but the amount of sunlight and wind and change in temperature that the plants are going to be exposed to for good once you do plant them in the ground. It just prepares the plant for that because they're still very fragile at this point. So you don't just want to directly plant them out there, or you're going to have a lot of issues. So this is a way, what you do is, for an hour or 2 at a time to begin with, on nice days, set them outside, let them get some sunlight, direct sunlight outside, and some different temperatures. So your house is set at 70 or whatever, so your plants are kind of in a warm little cocoon, and this is just a way to kind of toughen them up, and it prepares them for colder nights or super hot days or whatever, so that they don't just wilt at the first change in temperature or the first big gust of wind. It'll just help in your plant health. That's the last step. There are other things like fertilizers and things that we could get into, but we'll do that for another video. But for now, it's a good start to starting your seeds indoors and having success in the future. Thank you guys for joining us.